up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen. Get yourself comfy, this could take a while, what a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly.
Good morning everyone and welcome to today's assembly. While I get my hands nice and clean, let's start with our values. So, for each other we, every day we, to improve we, and together we will. And our everyday focuses, our Stukeley motto, our Stukeley curriculum, and 4 words that make the magic happen. Brilliant. Well, you might have guessed by the clue behind me what today's assembly is about. It's actually linked to our care value. And today we are going to be talking about friendship. And there is another picture there just to make you think about friendships and famous friendships. I want you to spend a little bit of time in your classes. Teacher, by all means, put me on pause. I wonder if you can make a big list as a class of famous friends, just like Buzz and Woody, that you can think of. Go. So hopefully you've had a bit of time to come up with a few suggestions. So there's my Buzz and Woody one. And if I move this way, you might be able to see some other ideas that I had. I hope you can see that, just in case it's not very clear. We've got Timon and Pumbaa there from The Lion King. We've got Lilo and Stitch. And we have got, of course, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. So I wonder if you came up with some more sensible ones than me. Perhaps I was thinking Ant and Dec, is it Dick and Dom? Some of those other ones. So those are the famous friendships that I thought of. It made me then think of the question, I wonder what it is that makes friendships good ones. Why are these friendships and friendships between real people actually successful? Maybe in your classes you could have a little think about that too. So pause me if you would like to, or perhaps it's something that you could discuss a little bit later as a class. If you have thought a lot about friendships, or if you have given any thought to what makes a successful friendship, I expect you thought of all the behaviours that are really important in friendship. Things like being kind to each other, like listening to each other, sharing feelings, thoughts, toys, games, having fun, taking care of each other, being interested in each other's lives. Those are the kind of things that make for really successful friendships, and friendships that last a long time. So I wonder then, what is the opposite of friendship? Being unkind, talking over people, ignoring them, not listening to them, hurting each other, being selfish, all of those things. It's kind of the opposite, isn't it? Whatever that we've said is important to make successful relationships, unsuccessful relationships are the opposite of that. So then you think, well, why would someone behave like that? Why might someone act in a deliberately, or what might appear to be a deliberately unfriendly way? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about somebody that might help us understand a little bit. So I'm going to tell you a story about somebody called Lucy. That's not their real name. This isn't based on a real person at all. It's just a scenario, we call that. And this story is about Lucy, who is having a really hard time at home. She's just started a new school. Her grandma is really poorly in a care home, so it's not really easy to get to see her at the minute with lockdown and things. Mum is working long shifts at the hospital because she's really busy looking after lots of poorly people. And Dad lives in another country and she hasn't seen him in ages because of all the travel restrictions that are around at the minute. So Lucy went to school, starts her new school, and she's really feeling a bit left out. She's feeling on the edge of things. She doesn't really know how to make new friends. And rather than kind of talking about that, she's just started being a little bit unkind. So rather than kind of reaching out to people, she's actually been pushing them away. She's said some nasty things about some of the other girls in her class, and she's even told some lies about them. So she's really demonstrating, I suppose, unfriendly behaviour. But how could we actually sort that situation out? How could we help to change Lucy's behaviour? I wonder what advice you would give her. So by all means, if you want to talk about that in your classes, then you can. The important thing here, though, depending on what your advice might be, is that it's always best to talk to trusted adults and not just put up with it. So if you were the girls in Lucy's class and you were the ones that she was saying unkind things about, that you must talk to adults. You don't just have to put up with it if people treat you in that way, if it's not very kind. You don't have to just put up with it. Talk to trusted adults. It might be somebody at home, it might be somebody in school. It's probably best not to try and tackle it on your own though, because sometimes accidentally we can actually make things worse. But never keep things hidden. Always tell, and remember that it's not your fault. So if you were the person that's on the receiving end of somebody being unkind, always tell someone you trust. It isn't your fault, and try to get somebody to help you sort things out rather than try and sort it out yourself, because it can be a little bit complicated at times. Now the thing is, back to Lucy, we might be able to actually understand why she's behaved as she has. I mean, she's got stuff going on at home. She's perhaps missing her dad. She's not seen grandma. Mum's busy. And she's moved to a new school. We can understand why she might be behaving as she has. But it's not an excuse for her behaviour. It's important that we do understand sometimes why people behave in the way that they do. But it isn't an excuse for their behaviour. It is never okay to be unkind and to try and hurt people with our words or our actions. It is never okay. But it can be helpful sometimes to try and understand why people are behaving in the way that they do. Now, the thing is, we might want to try and show Lucy a better way. Now, in Stukeley, we believe in trying to be the best that we can be. So perhaps at Stukeley, we would try and show her a better way, how you could be a better friend. We could try and be a good role model for somebody like Lucy, to try and model that friendly behaviour. The thing is, she's finding it really tricky to make friends. So she's not actually sure how she should go about it. So I wonder what you might suggest. So you could perhaps now or a bit later talk about that, ways that you could actually initiate friendships or initiate conversations with people, how you can start things off, because that's often the most difficult part. A good way to start a friendship is sometimes trying to work out what it is that you might have in common, what joint interests you might have, for example. If you have a think about it and think about the friends that you have, I bet you all like the same things. Not exactly the same things, but I bet there are at least one or two things that you all like jointly together. Those things that you have in common. You might all like the same colour, or you might, I don't know, maybe like eating the same food, who knows. But there's usually at least one or two things that you do have in common. But remember, you don't all have to like exactly the same things to be good friends. But I bet there's one or two things that you like and that you have in common. So I wonder what common interests, that means shared interests, that some of our famous friends might have. I'm just looking at Buzz and Woody, and I'm thinking about Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. Well, I guess they both like snacks, don't they? And I guess maybe Woody and Buzz both like Andy, don't they? So perhaps that's what they have in common. So maybe you could have a little think about that. What do these successful and famous friendships have in common? Very interesting. Anyway, perhaps during this break, or lunchtime even, maybe you could look out for people like Lucy. People who maybe don't seem to have lots and lots of friends around them, maybe seem a little bit shy, maybe even a little bit grumpy. And maybe you could try and have a talk to them. Maybe you could see if you can find out something more about them. You never know, you might find out that you've got more in common than you expected. I wonder what other ways you could think of to be an excellent friend to the friends that you have, but also, really importantly, what you can think of about being an excellent role model for those around you. Because at Stukeley, we want to demonstrate excellent friendship and people that are really supportive and kind to one another. So we can all think about how we can be more kind. We can all think about how we can show others a better way of doing things. And sometimes that's about being a better friend if they're struggling with that a bit, and also about being understanding. But always remember that if people are saying or doing things that make you feel a little bit sad or worried in any way, then talk to a trusted adult, either in school or at home, and they can help you try and sort things out. So a really important message today, everybody. Have a good week. Be kind to one another. Be great friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Right, we haven't practiced this for a little while, so we're going to go back to our Grace Nichols poem, Cat Rap, and we should be just about approaching the end, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through verse 1 and then verse 2, and then I'm going to go to the last, well, almost the last part, okay? So let's try it together and see how we get on. So, lying on the sofa, all curled and meek, but in my furry fuzzy head, there's a rapping beat. Gonna rap while I'm napping and looking sweet. Gonna rap while I'm padding on the balls of my feet. Gonna rap on my head, gonna rap on my tail, gonna rap on my you-know-where. So wave your paws in the air like you just don't care. With 9 lives to spare, gimme 5 right here. Well, they say that we cats are killed by curiosity, but does this moggy mind know I've got suavity? When I get to heaven, gonna rap with my cavity, gonna find his hidden paw and clear up that mystery. Now, I have got a feeling that that verse is the one that you remember the least, because I remember that one the least. We're going to come back to that one a bit together, okay? So remember, when I point to me, it's me. When it's you, it's you. Here we go. Well, they say that we cats are killed by curiosity, but does this moggy mind know I've got suavity? When I get to heaven, gonna rap with my cavity, gonna find his hidden paw and clear up that mystery. Very good. So we've got 3 verses done, so we are on the final one, and actually I think that might be a little bit easier. I'll just say the whole thing through and then we'll break it up a bit and practice together, okay? Nap it up, scratch it up, the knack is free. Fur it up, purr it up, yes, that's me. I'll do that bit again. Nap it up, scratch it up, the knack is free. Fur it up, purr it up, yes, that's me. So here we go, we'll break it down a bit. Nap it up, scratch it up. The knack is free. Fur it up, purr it up, yes, that's me. The meanest cat rapper you'll ever see. #1 of the street sound galaxy. Nap it up, scratch it up, the knack is free. Fur it up, purr it up, yes, that's me. The meanest cat rapper you'll ever see. #1 of the street sound galaxy. I'm hoping I left you enough time to get all those words in, everybody. So we have now done the whole thing and that last verse. So next week, we literally are going to put all of that together and hope that you're going to be practicing in your classes so that we can remember the whole thing from top to bottom. I promise you, I'm going to practice really hard this week, okay? So take care, everybody, and we'll come back to this next time.
Thank you again, Mrs. Stevens. I'm actually going to take some of that values assembly into our most important 60 seconds. So keep an ear out for that in a few minutes' time. Right, before we go to shout outs, I found a bit of exclusive video footage from after yesterday's Who Will Be Triumphant. If you can remember, Warby and Purcell were triumphant, and Mrs. Wing was none too happy about that. Well, look what happened straight after. Oh, hello! Just had a WhatsApp from Mrs. Wing. Check this out. You win some, you lose some, Mrs. Wing. I'm sorry. I'm worried about the future of the office team and their relationship. I think we can smooth it over, but for now, let's not just say too much about it. Right. No Stukeley birthdays today. I've had a good look. I've checked, I've double checked. I don't think we've made a mistake. Got some coming up later in the week. But before we go into our times tables rock stars and numbots shout outs, we've got some celebrations of Stukeley rocks, the Halloween rocks that we did. I've got some prizes. I'm not going to show you exactly what they are, but quite a few of you have won. Ooh, little message on my phone. Quite a few of you have won a goodie bag. So well done to these children. Sebastian L in foundation stage. Evan in year 1. Jake in year 1. Rory in foundation stage. Samuel in foundation stage. Lily C in year 5. And Joseph S in year 4. You have all won Stukeley Rocks goodie bags. I'll be bringing them round to you, or somebody will, today. Right, let's talk about times tables.
Who's been doing lots of maths? Jam is stored in jars. Who's been calculating lots on numbots and TT Rockstars? Who's been doing lots of maths? Jam is stored in jars. Who's been calculating lots on numbots and TT Rockstars?
Brand new song there. A long time writing that one, but I think it hits the button. Now, times tables rock stars and numbots. Foundation stage, you're almost there, getting on to numbots. But we know that every child in year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should be going on TTRS twice a week. Every child in year 1 should be going on numbots twice a week. Let's find out how they've been getting on with news of an exciting battle at the end. Right, let's start off with year 2. Times tables rock stars. Pine 25,556, Maple 10,099. I think the gap's closing, but it's still there. Top 3 players in year 2, Olivia, Elsie and Susanna. I think that mixes up a little bit each week. Let's see if we can change it every week. That would be great. Year 3, Willow 20,008, definitely improving. Lime 72,086. Top 3 players, Oscar, Addy, Harry. Can somebody break in there? Come on! Year 4, Acacia Birch. Birch 18,961. Acacia 23,899. Top 3 players, Sowler, Noel, Allen. Has that mixed up a little bit? Come on, who can force their way into the top 3? Year 5, Chestnut Beach. Chestnut, 19,084. Beach, 13,637. Gabriche, Oscar and Tashina in the top 3. And finally, year 6, Oak, 72,969. They always absolutely destroy. Sycamore, 99,353. Come on, that is unbelievable. George, top player, George C. I think that's the first time. Ollie and Benjamin, the top 3. Wow, Sycamore take it. That is incredible. Now, they're the TTRS scores for this week. There are lots and lots of rock certificates for children who've moved up to the next level. But, and this is the most important announcement. Oh, just before this announcement, you know it was Maths Week England last week. Yeah, and everybody in England who does times tables rock stars had a massive battle. Well, Sycamore, who got the biggest score for Stukeley, they finished in England in 1,283rd place. They got 66,191 in this battle. The top scorers just for the week were Class 6JH, Christchurch Primary School in Ilford. They got 708,000. They got over 10 times as much as Sycamore. Don't know what they're doing there. Anyway, most important announcement. This is so exciting. Last week, do you remember me saying that the class where the most people had taken part would win an extra special prize? Yeah. Lots of you thought, oh, he's just going to give them a couple of pounds at the Oakleaf bookshop. Well, no. Let me tell you this. The class in the whole school where the most children went on to Rockstars or Numbots, the class with the most participation, in fact, they had 93% of the class go on, was Oak class. So Oak class in year 6, they were the class that went on the most. Interestingly, last week, the week before, they went on the least. So they properly turned it round. Well, your prize, Oak class, ho, your prize, people are going to be gutted. The whole class tomorrow get to take part in cheer, boo, song or silence. Yes, I'm going to get you all outside. One of you's going to pick the card. Then you're all going to come into the hall. You'll all get a cheer or a boo or a song or silence. First children ever to take part in it. The whole class are doing it as a bubble, COVID secure. It's going to be brilliant. See you tomorrow for that.
The most important 60 seconds are coming up now. The most important 60 seconds are coming up now.
Thank you again to Mrs. Stevens for talking beautifully and really carefully about friendships and how important they are for all of us. They make the world go round. They make the magic happen. That's what I say, as well as work hard, be kind. There we go. Work hard, be kind. You know how important that is to me. You know how important it is to the school, and it should be the world. You know my favourite value. My favourite value has always been care, because the way you talk to people, the way you listen to people, the way you interact with people, the way you care for people, really is the most important thing, I believe, about life and about our community. Listen to what Mrs. Stevens says. Be the best person you can. Work hard, be kind. That is the most important 60 seconds, I think, of life.